Hi everyone, I'm Jamie Ruthenberg and you are watching another episode of Jamie's Book in a Bite. Today we're going to talk about a brand new young adult chapter book that will soon be available, and then we're going to move into the kitchen and make one of my most favorite recipes ever, pumpkin chocolate chip muffins. They are so good. So like I said, there's a brand new chapter book that will soon be available by a new author named Kathleen Jae. And the name of the book is Elanora and the Salt Marsh Mystery. And I had the pleasure of creating the artwork, creating the illustrations for the book. And it was so much fun because the main character, Elanora, is a chipmunk. And she's absolutely adorable, strong, brave character, larger than life in this little tiny body. So just to give you a little background about what the story's about, this main character, Elanora, this little chipmunk, lives in a state much like Michigan, in a Midwestern state. She lives with this beautiful family, all her brothers and sisters and her mother, and she mistakenly one day wound up in a boat that took her far off to a place very much like Sanibel Island in Florida. But thankfully, after quite a struggle that day, she is taken in by a very kind couple. They're muskrats who live in that particular marsh. But from that point on, Eleanor's life becomes very challenging, as you can imagine. Chipmunks actually don't live in that part of the country. The saltwater marsh environment is not where a chipmunk is supposed to live in terms of lifestyle, diet, sleep patterns of the other animals, so on and so forth. So this is very challenging for her and scary. Not to mention the fact that the rest of the muskrats in the colony are not too comfortable with the fact that Elanora is going to be a part of their group because they've never seen anything like her before. Even more challenging is that Elanora discovers something that is actually very threatening, life-threatening to everyone living in that marsh. The big question in the story really is, will the rest of the colony and the rest of all the other animals listen to her and believe what this little newcomer has to say who looks and acts so differently? Eleanor's character is smart and adventurous, very curious, and very brave. She finds that strength in herself to get through and overcome extremely challenging, difficult times. And it's those characteristics in her that make her a true hero and a true leader in the story. I loved drawing Elanora. I loved drawing this character, this little tiny character that had such huge inner strength. I especially love when she stuffs her cheeks with raspberries in the very beginning of the story, and when she's back at home and when it starts out. And that's what chipmunks really do, and I loved drawing it. It's adorable. I especially love drawing one of the characters in the story named Pellis, and he's a cormorant. A cormorant is a very, very large black bird that's indigenous to those parts of the marshes in Florida. They spread their wings out and stand there with their head up in a very proud position to actually dry their wings. It's extremely comical, and I love drawing that character doing that position. It's hilarious. I also love drawing the very last drawing in the book where Elanora stands up and has to speak to the entire colony and all the other animals listening about this information that I can't give away, but it's a very brave, very strong moment in the book and pivotal. And I can't give you any other information. I don't want to give it away, but it's an awesome, awesome moment. So this book, Elanora and the Salt Marsh Mystery, will be out very soon, and when it does come out, I will put the information down below this video. Behind me, you can see that it is fall, and fall is my favorite time of year, to be totally honest with you. It is so beautiful, and the colors, especially in Michigan here, they're just really gorgeous. So when the trees are gorgeous like this, and there's a chill in the air, the first thing I think of are pumpkin muffins. I know it's a little strange. But it's true. I tell you what, when you make these, if you do make this recipe that we're gonna do, the entire house smells glorious of pumpkin and cinnamon and nutmeg and cloves, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful recipe. So this recipe is just not any other pumpkin recipe. It's an exceptional one. It's my grandmother's recipe, actually. She used to make it in large loaves. I actually make them in muffin form, and I added a couple extra ingredients and tweaked it a little bit. And one of the ingredients are mini semi-sweet chocolate chips. Pumpkin and chocolate together is so fabulous. Let's go make some pumpkin muffins. Okay, so here we are in the kitchen. The oven's at 350 degrees, and I have 2 muffin tins here, 12 muffins a piece, so it'll be 24, and I have these little, just plain old white muffin cups that you can get in the grocery store. I usually, well, a lot of times I'll have very decorative cups, but these muffins are going to be put on a really beautiful decorative patterned plate, so I wanted the plate to be the ornate part. And then I always have a little bit of extra batter left over from this recipe. So what I usually do is I spray the inside of a tiny, or not tiny, but somewhat small loaf pan. You can do anything you want with the rest of this. You could make more muffins. I like to make a little loaf of the pumpkin and chocolate chip batter because it's great to bake off and then pop in the freezer and then have if you have unexpected company. In this bowl right here, I have 3 1/3 cups flour and 3 cups sugar. And to this, I added to the dry, this is gonna be your dry ingredients. And to this, I added 1 1/2 teaspoons salt, 2 teaspoons baking soda, and then I have in this little bowl 2 teaspoons cinnamon, 1 teaspoon nutmeg, and 1/4 teaspoon cloves. Be careful with cloves. You don't want to do more than what is called for because it's very strong. Then what I did is I whisked up all the dry ingredients. And what that really does is it kind of aerates it, kind of like when people sift the flour and their dry ingredients. Same thing here. It's kind of an easy little step. So then what I have are 4 eggs in the bowl that will be the wet ingredients. I'm going to whisk these up just to break them up a little bit. To this mixture, I'm going to add 2 cups canned pumpkin puree, not pumpkin pie filling. I think sometimes people get the two confused. Pumpkin pie filling that comes in a can has all kinds of other ingredients, and I like to control those ingredients. So to this, you add 2 cups canned pumpkin puree, 1 cup vegetable oil, 1/2 cup water, and then 1 teaspoon vanilla. And you don't even measure it out because vanilla is wonderful. If there's a little more, so be it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add all this wet ingredients to the dry. And this batter is incredibly beautiful. Very thick. Get a little arm workout when you do this. And then stir it all together. All right, we're all mixed. So now what I'm going to do, the very last step, I'm going to put in 2 full cups of mini semi-sweet chocolate chips. I like the minis in it. It's really nice. You can use regular sized chocolate chips as well, but there's something about mini that makes it really nice. And I can't open this. 2 cups is really roughly a bag of chocolate chips, which is convenient. Sometimes when I'm using chocolate chips, I'll put them in a bowl and toss them with a little bit of flour. What that does is it makes it so they suspend in the batter and they don't drop to the bottom, but this is a pretty thick batter, so I think we're okay. Or I always have been okay anyway. So let's mix this together. I'm going to use a ice cream scoop. One good scoop of this into each one of the muffin tins. It makes it so that everything is equal in terms of how much batter is in each. They all will bake evenly and at the same time. So here we go. So I got all 24 muffin cups filled, and now I'm putting whatever was left in this little loaf pan. And this, obviously, this little loaf pan, this will actually cook longer. I don't know exactly how long, to be totally honest with you. I do know though that these go 22 to 27 minutes. And then what I do is when I take these out, I set this in a little better position in the oven. I let it go until a tester or a knife comes out clean. Same with the muffins. Like I said, 22 to 27 minutes, or until, I mean, every oven is a little different, until your little tester comes out clean. So, here we go. Okay, so the muffins are all baked off and they're warm. They're just out of the oven, they're still warm. And at that time is when you want to put on the cinnamon vanilla glaze on it. There's really no recipe, written recipe for this glaze, for me at least. All I really do is take, what I usually take is just like a soup bowl. I fill it with powdered sugar, confectioner's sugar, and then I slowly drizzle in some water. You don't want to pour a bunch of water into it because you want to see what the consistency is with each addition. So tablespoon by tablespoon until you get the consistency of like a nice glaze. Then you add a little bit of cinnamon and a splash of vanilla and you mix that up, and then you have this beautiful glaze. Now remember, if it's too thin, just add some more powdered sugar. If it's too thick, add a little more water. It's very forgiving that way. So it's nothing technical, it's very easy. And you want to do this while they're warm so that those warm cakes absorb some of that glaze. So I'm going to glaze these, and I'll see you soon. So here we are, and here are the beautiful muffins on this beautiful, beautiful tray. I don't know if you can see this. Yum. They're extremely moist. I can't wait to eat that whole thing. And maybe a couple more. And these freeze extremely well. What I usually do is pack them in freezer bags and pop them in the freezer, and you can have them anytime you want, and they taste just as fresh as the day that you made them, which is really great. They're great for lunch boxes and after school treats. Originally it had, I think, nuts and raisins. I think that's the way my grandmother made it. So you can do chopped nuts, raisins, chopped apples is wonderful, or a combination of all three. My mother actually added dried cranberries the other day, and she said it was phenomenal. This is truly a favorite of my family and kind of one of those vintage recipes that mean a lot to my family. So I'm really happy to share it with you. I hope you enjoy it. The recipe and all its ingredients are listed below. Just hit that show more button and all the information will come down for you. And remember to hit that subscribe button. So thank you for hanging with me, and until next time. Mwah. So this new book, Elanora and the Salt Marsh, easy for me to say. My mother actually added dry. We're cooking with gas now, people. Or actually electric, but my mother the other day actually she didn't dry the cranberries. Yeah, just a splash of vanilla and then choking. my other